Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Flame Emperor episode number 491 based on novel. So let's start. You stay where you are. I'll go take a look. Holding his breath, looking at the dead void in this small world, Xiao Yan took the lead and walked towards the wooden house in the forest little by little. Soul power loses its effect, and it is only possible to judge the danger here by relying on intuition and the prediction of danger in the long-term battle. It can be said that the center of the fairy world today is full of crises. One step is wrong, one step is wrong. Xiao Yang believed that with his current strength, even if he used the power of the devil and the ruler of the gods, he would not be able to deal with the two half-evil powerhouses at the same time, not to mention that there were other existences similar to the Red King rank. Xiao Yang. Yun stared at the man who moved cautiously in front of her. Her red lips pursed lightly, and her worry was very obvious. If something unexpected happens here, I'm afraid this girl will be the first to rush out. After all, the current Xiao Yang's status and weight in Yun's heart is probably unprecedented. Gently pushed the door and entered, but nothing strange happened. Xiao Yang frowned, his eyes swept randomly in this rather dilapidated wooden house, but finally stopped on a blue vessel. On the cyan vessel, special energy shields were applied, which were obviously special items used to nurture certain creatures. At this time, the inside of the vessel was full of large and small spiritual cocoons and pupae, but there was no breath of life in it. Instead, there was a trace of red evil lingering on it, which vaguely revealed a strong sense of unease. This kind of fluctuation is indeed the power of the evil race from outside the territory, and just from such a strong evil power, I am afraid that it is not the two half-evil gods who shot. Xiao Yang's eyes narrowed slightly. After a while, the evil power he took out from his palm disappeared instantly, and a cold light suddenly appeared in his eyes. Having dealt with the evil races outside the territory countless times, it is natural to be able to detect the vague strength of the shooter from these evil forces. Even the Red King rank is very strong. At this time, Yueru suddenly walked out from behind Xiao Yang. Looking at the utensils and the horrific destruction in the room, she immediately said in a deep voice, "Senior Spirit Butterfly Immortal Master, I am afraid that something unexpected has happened." After pausing for a moment, Yun's eyes flashed a dim light, and she shook her head slightly as she searched the wooden house. "I don't think this senior has any accident. The reason why the two half-evil gods suddenly summoned people is probably because they are afraid of the Heavenly Emperor or something in the center of the immortal realm. Or maybe they have more terrifying plans." Xiao Yang shook his head and did not agree with Yun's statement. Just attacking the center of the immortal realm from them did not kill everyone. Instead, it only killed the strength of a top powerhouse like the Moon God Palace. Xiao Yang felt that something was not right. This time, the attack of the evil race from outside the territory was too sudden, as strong as Dark Yanggong. The peak forces guarding the cracks in the plain in the center of the human world did not send any news. This must be just the private practice of the two half-evil gods. Otherwise, if the war between heaven and earth starts, with the huge population of the evil race outside the territory, there is no other channel for them to step into the Great Thousand World except for the cracks in the plain. Although I don't know how they brought part of such a huge army of foreign evil tribes into the Fairyland, Xiao Yang felt that their approach was more like imprisoning them. Suppressing them makes them unable to resist and escape, and can only stay in the Fairyland like prisoners, thus attacking the center of the Fairyland. That feeling is more like raising them in captivity. Once the ruler is overthrown, I am afraid that they will also be completely reduced to blood slaves under their mouths, blood food. If the center of the immortal world is completely destroyed under their command, I am afraid that the entire heaven will cease to exist because of this. By then. While Xiao Yang was thinking, Yueru sighed, even though this was the worst outcome. "I'm afraid it's too early to think about this kind of thing now. Let's go to the next shrine first, follow me." Yaoling also looked worried, waved her hand and led the three of them out of here together. A few minutes later. The 15th shrine, the Thunder Beast Immortal Shrine. Thunder Beast Immortal Venerable, the peak strength of the quadruple reincarnation. Opened the main entrance of the shrine, followed the plaque and guidelines, and quietly poured into it. This small world is surrounded by clouds and mist. Dozens of towering mountain peaks meet in the clouds and mist. Even above the mountain peaks, there are streaks of extremely ferocious silver thunder. Under this silver thunder, many evil forces and people with bad intentions can only quietly obey. At the core of the 10 mountain peaks, there is a precipitous thunder peak that looks like a natural danger. In Lei Feng, thunder roared endlessly, and a terrifying wave filled the entire world with deafening violent energy. Go! The four of them looked at each other, resisting the tyrannical silver thunder together, and walked away to Lei Feng, where the thunder beast Immortal Venerable was entrenched. Even though these thunderbolts were terrifying and caused a lot of obstacles for Xiao Yang and the others, 5 minutes later, the four of them stepped into Lei Feng. At the top of Lei Feng, there is a huge square. The circular altars on the square stand out. Standing in it, you can clearly feel the gathering of countless thunders around. It is obviously the place where the thunder beast Immortal Venerable usually cultivates and lives. Even today's Xiao Yang, under the pressure of this level of thunder, felt a tingling sensation in his arms. After the rest, the four began to disperse, carefully looking for the figure of the thunder beast Immortal Venerable. Today, they don't know the situation ahead, so they don't dare to move forward rashly. No trace of the thunder beast Immortal Venerable was found. A few minutes later, Yarrow Ling came to Xiao Yang with a gloomy face. These powerhouses in the center of the immortal world are tyrannical and domineering. Even the ordinary 4-layer reincarnation level strength is comparable to the 5-layer reincarnation level powerhouse. Why are they disappearing one after another now? Look, what is this? A few people were puzzled, but Yun found a very hidden cave on the cliff below Lei Feng. There is a lightning ban on the edge of the cave. It seems that there is something inside. You step back a little. Xiao Yang squinted his eyes. From the faint traces here, it is not difficult to find. It seemed that something was running into it in a panic. After all, there are still very shallow footprints on the square, which are very easy to distinguish. Ray comes. Xiao Yang roared, the flames all over his body entered his body, and a trace of grey thunder burst out. With the appearance of this grey thunder, whether it was Lei Feng or the humming silver thunder on the surrounding mountains, it became eerily quiet. They seem to be afraid of this grey thunder, and they don't dare to make any sound at all. This is thunder attribute. Seeing the power of thunder on Xiao Yang's body, and the fear of the silver thunder around him, the three women spoke out at the same time. Although there are not a few strong people in the world who are proficient in the two attributes, it is similar to Xiao Yang, who has a holy flame, and can also have the power of thunder that is stronger than the thunder beast Immortal Venerable. It is the existence of the Arabian Nights. Just to find the source of thunder, or to find the holy flame, it takes a huge amount of time, not to mention that the two advantages are now combined in one person. A touch of envy flooded into my heart unconsciously. However, after a while, Yun and Yu slightly touched the inheritance left by their great powers, and they also laughed relieved. Naturally, Xiao Yang didn't know what the three girls were thinking, so he single-mindedly motivated the thunder power to attack and break the thunder ban in front of him. No! Don't kill me! At the moment when the lightning barrier was shattered, a terrified voice emanated tremblingly from the depths of the cave. Some people report that the list of artifacts is too brief, so I will release it after I improve it in detail. There are living beings. Go. Listening to this trembling voice, the four of them burst into ecstasy and rushed into the cave in an instant. Inside the cave, there are silver thunders paving the way, and the breath of thunder that makes the scalp numb continues to explode. This is a thunder beast tamed by the thunder beast Immortal Venerable. When the four of them followed the sound to the depths of the cave, an ugly look appeared on Yarrow Ling's pretty face. The thunder beast in front of him was about several dozen feet in size. The overall shape was like a thunder lion, but it was not the same. The silver scales that were originally majestic, but at this time, a large piece disappeared strangely, and the bright red and rotten flesh and blood appeared in everyone's sight. The blood dripped, and the entire thunder beast lay on the ground weakly, with fearful eyes, as if he had experienced something. Senior Thunder Beast Immortal Venerable's Thunder Beast, the two are inseparable all day long. With the cooperation of the two, even some powerful quasi-five-fold reincarnation rank can't resist. At this moment, Yarrow Ling also realized the seriousness of the matter. Yarrow Ling? Hearing this sweet voice surging, the thunder beast's body shook suddenly, and the beast's eyes suddenly opened. The beast's eyes just opened, revealing a tinge of unbearable pain, but just staring at the four people in front of him, the fear in his eyes finally calmed down. Senior, what happened? Yueru and Xiao Yang looked at each other, and immediately spoke up. It seems that all the doubtful eyes can only be pinned on Thunder Beast at the moment. It was a disaster. The center of the Fairyland was invaded by two powerful men of unknown origin. They came from the 16th shrine all the way. It was a massacre, a crush. It's just hell. Even when I think about it now, my heart palpitations fill the bottom of my heart. Too strong. The two who broke into the center of the fairy world are too strong. Only one of them made a move, and within 3 moves, Lord Shenzuan was defeated. The whole battle was completely useless. The Thunder Beast wailed, and the sound was miserable. 3 moves. Can you defeat the Thunder Beast, Immortal Venerable? Listening to the description of the Thunder Beast, the hearts of the 4 people sank, and a thunderbolt from the blue slammed down viciously. If the real heretic god descends, Xiao Yang naturally believes in defeating the Thunder Beast Immortal Venerable with a combat power comparable to the quasi-5-fold reincarnation level. But only a half-evil has such monstrous power. Is it the power that the demigods hold in their hands that they cannot surpass, or is the strength of the demigods really reaching a suffocating level? With 2 guesses, Xiao Yang would rather believe the first one. Senior, when they attacked this shrine, were there any hostages in their hands? Xiao Yang patted his head suddenly, as if he had remembered something. At the time of the attack, in addition to the 2 mysterious powerhouses, there were countless magic clouds rolling around behind them. In the magic clouds, there seemed to be the aura of a spirit butterfly fairy. And when they finally defeated Immortal Venerable, they didn't order the killer, but just knocked Immortal Venerable and took him away. It seems to be heading for the next shrine. The Thunder Beast secretly regretted in his eyes. Senior, guard your heart. I will repair your injury and expel the evil power for you. After simply sorting out the information, Xiao Yang sat cross-legged and started urging Fen Ju. No. Stop the kid. These evil forces will erode your mind. Is this holy flame? Lei Beast struggled violently, and seemed to want to get rid of Xiao Yang's treatment, but with Fen Ju's urging, the appearance of Hua Xiaoding and Liuli Flame actually made Lei Beast's pupils shrink. A heart-piercing low roar sounded from the Thunder Beast's mouth. This guy's injury is too serious. Even if it is repaired with holy flames, the suffering is absolutely unimaginable. A quarter of an hour later, the low growl and mourning disappeared, and the entire cave returned to silence. The 4 of you. The Thunder Beast in the state of rehabilitating machine couldn't help but make a sound. We are here, naturally, to stop those guys. Yarrow Ling took a step forward. Although her strength was weak, she was extremely confident. Obviously, at the time of separation, the Lady of Yarrow-kai should have given her some treasures. Especially in the capacity of the Lady of Yarrow-kai, the things she took out were largely, should be one of the top 10 immortal weapons artifacts in the immortal world. No. Absolutely not. Your strength is too weak. Even if you hold an artifact, you are definitely not their opponent. You are here to die. The Thunder Beast suddenly roared wildly, with a solemn expression. Senior, the Moon God Palace has been destroyed, and the outsiders and I are mortal enemies. The same is true for the Flower God Palace. Yarrow-kai Wonderland. The 3 women expressed their opinions one after another, and the majestic killing intent in their eyes actually made Xiao Yang feel a little terrified. A good woman does not allow men. The 2 great masters died. Seeing the sadness in their eyes, Thunder Beast was shocked. The strength of the Palace Master of the Flower God Palace and the Palace Master of the Moon God Palace is one of the best in the center of the immortal realm. They actually fell? It's not too late. I also ask the seniors to guard here and block the only retreat outside the domain. We will continue to move forward. Everything has been figured out. Yarrow Ling bit her lip and said. There is only one entrance to the center of Immortal World, which is also the exit. As for the first shrine, it is unknown whether there is an exit where the Emperor of Heaven lives. There used to be many reincarnation powerhouses with different talents who tried to provoke the center of the heavens, but unfortunately, none of them successfully challenged to the end, and none of them fell into the long river of history. But, looking at the 4 people in front of Da Yi Ling Ran, the Thunder Beast's eyes surged violently. The mere women are so righteous, yet they hide here for life and fear of death. Xiao Yang, what are you doing? During the conversation, they found that the void around him began to shake, and Xiao Yang, who had been silent for a long time, had even more power in his body. This is the magic formation of the heavens. Even a large army outside the territory is probably enough time to last for a stick of incense. Here, seniors are also invited to stay behind. Xiao Yang dawdled for a long time, compressing and condensing all the spiritual power in his body, and finally cooperated with the core inscription to form the magic formation of the heavens on the palm of his hand. The formation of 590,000 patterns. His eyes narrowed slightly, looking at Xiao Yang with a hippie smile as if he were looking at a monster. The 590,000 line all-heaven demon formation is enough to intercept the powerhouses below the 6th level of reincarnation from the evil race from outside the realm. And the power of the formation is not single, it is group. In other words, this formation, as long as there are no 6-layer reincarnation level powerhouses, is enough time to intercept a stick of incense from the foreign army. This is the strength of the Do formation master. However, Xiao Yang's move now means that in the next action, Xiao Yang will not be able to use his mental power to build a formation. This is a gamble. Okay. Split up. Several people hit it off and started to act. There are such capable people in my immortal realm, why not worry about it? After the Thunder Beast finished speaking, he quietly went to the exit and cast the heavens and magic formations, like an airtight giant net of heaven and earth, completely shrouding the center of the entire fairyland. Under normal conditions, ordinary people cannot find the existence of the formation, but once the edge of the formation is touched, the formation will start, and the invincible time of a stick of incense will start to count. This time, either fall completely and stay in the center of the heaven, or turn into a dragon and make the world tremble for me. Under the tense situation in the center of the fairy world, Zuna, who has never shown her face, is also secretly carrying out some kind of plan. This seems to be the entrance to the center of the fairy world. Why did Xiao Yi and Princess Chen Qin leave a signal to let me create a soul clone to fool the Holy Medicine Church? Brother Xiao Yang has just participated in the second stage. Zuna, like an elf hidden in the void, quietly came to the empty crack of the sky, the entrance to the center of the fairyland. Sister-in-law, here. Go. It was easy, as early as Xiao Yang's second test, Zuna and the three stepped into the center of the fairy world one step at a time. Obviously, this was due to some information and missions given to Princess Chen Qin by the Elder. This is the center of the fairy world. According to the information the Great Elder told me, this is a special area where the water spirit beads are hidden. Shui Lingzhu, that is the most powerful thing that affects the safety of the entire Great Thousand World. As soon as the three of them met, Princess Chen Qin squinted her eyes and looked unconsciously at the void behind where there was no way out. They had just entered the center of the immortal realm. In front of them were the 16 shrines of the glazed shrine. As for the rear, there was endless darkness and a certain prohibition that isolated time and space. At this moment, the eyes of Princess Chen Qin and Xiao Yi all fell on the dark void behind them. Did you find it? Xiao Yi's expression condensed slightly. Looking at the shrines entrenched in front of her, she said nervously. Now they are rushing into the center of the fairy world. Once they are discovered, the fate is self-evident. Go this way. After some complicated confirmation, Princess Chen Qin just spoke. There is no way here. Zuna was obviously aware of the seriousness of the matter, but she was puzzled at this time. Hey, ordinary people only know the 16 shrines in the glazed glass road, but they don't know the opposite direction. They are the prisoners who have trespassed in the center of the fairyland, and the forbidden places set up by the emperor in secret. Under the burning of a bunch of ancient flames, the tightly seamed void suddenly twisted, and immediately brought the three people into it. Time flies, and the three of them don't know how long they have been traveling, but they just follow Princess Chen Qin and keep marching. And with Zuna's keen sense of smell, it seems that Princess Chen Qin has some ancient aura that makes the aura here slightly fear. That was given by the Great Elder. It is said that the previous owner of the Shui Lingzhu was the crown of Yaroji, so our fire elves naturally have some ancient powers that surpass those of the 5th and 6th layers of power. Xiao Yi explained with a smile. With the ancient power that the Great Elder secretly gave Princess Chen Qin, the three of them quietly cut through the void and poured into a sacred place full of restrictions. And I don't know if it is because the Emperor of Heaven has absolute confidence or other factors, but the entire forbidden area in the rear does not have any guarding power. It is really strange. The source of the breath should be here. Princess Chen Qin had just finished speaking when a strong light flickered in front of the three of them, and their sight slowly recovered. Into the line of sight is an ancient island that is pierced by 6 ancient divine chains and stands quietly in the sky. Seen from a distance, the entire sky and earth has an extremely ancient vicissitudes of taste, and even the dangling islands and the 6 divine chains are full of broken gestures. It seems to have experienced some kind of destructive battle, caused by countless years of silence. The only item entrenched in the void, the edge of the broken island, seems to be engraved with incomplete and mysterious lines. Zuna looked up, and the long-lost dizziness struck. It's just that when I saw this thing, I couldn't help but recall Xiao Yang's figure. It seems that this kind of pattern has been seen on Xiao Yang's brother. Among the islands, is that the place where the Shui Lingzhu exists? Come on. Xiao Yi stretched out her tongue and licked it slowly, opening her mouth slightly hot. Although even the elders do not know how to use the water spirit beads, if they can obtain the water spirit beads, I am afraid there will be many benefits. Moreover, Xiao Yi knew that her second brother Xiao Yang also had a fire spirit orb, and this water spirit orb had to be obtained. The power of Yaroji. Princess Qianqin stopped Xiaoyi directly, raised her jade hand, and a beautiful stone statue of Yaoji poured out of her arms, instantly turning into bursts of powder and floating towards the ancient island. Tear off. Bang bang bang. The powder is like some kind of chaotic power that has just opened up in the world. It has just entered the sky above the ancient island, and the violent and ferocious energy continues to overflow, destroying it completely. Accompanying it, there is also the hidden imprisoning power entrenched around the island, which also disappeared together. Let's go, try if you can get the water spirit orb. Just after speaking, the three of them acted together. The periphery of the broken island, including on the island, is also broken, but at this time, it gives several people a rather mysterious feeling. Sister-in-law. Have you noticed? This island is a bit like the body of some animal. A bit like a humpback turtle. For some unknown reason, Xiaoyi suddenly said this when he stepped into the ground of the island. Moreover, there is always a bad feeling in his heart, which makes his heart faint. Hurry up. Princess Qianqin and Zuna looked at each other, and it was obvious that they had already explained the important relationship on the road just now. At this time, they ignored Xiaoyi's worried words and acted. The broken island is desolate, but in the center of this island, which is about 1,000 meters long, there is a cyan rock. Where is the Shui Lingzhu? Xiaoyi saw that the two ignored him, so she could only follow, but she kept thinking about the island in her mouth. Blue rock. There are 3 grooves in this rock. Will you need 3 keys? Although the cover was extremely perfect, Zuna just squatted down and suddenly found something strange in a rather hidden rock corner. Try it first. If you can't get the water spirit beads, I'm afraid you can only use that method. Princess Qianqin seems to have known it for a long time. Why do I feel that this trip to the Fairyland is a conspiracy? Xiao Yi was suddenly afraid for a while, and her eyes kept staring at this desolate land. It's because I know it. Otherwise, the Shui Lingzhu, a treasure that is related to the vast world, once falls into the hands of foreigners. Boom. Before Princess Qianqin could finish her voice, the entire island suddenly vibrated, and a beam of bright blue energy burst out from nowhere, causing the whole world to tremble. Has it been discovered? A golden light flashed between Zuna's eyebrows, and the sacred flame bloomed, always alerting the surroundings. It doesn't look like it's been discovered, a bit like we've alerted the guardians here. It's just this cyan energy, I seem to have seen it somewhere. Princess Qianqin murmured and shook her head, unable to remember for a while. Boom. In the entire forbidden ancient island, there was a humming sound, and the sound of several people fighting reverberated through the sky, but it did not disturb any powerhouses about the center of the Fairyland. Because at this time, the great powers among the 16 shrines in the center of the immortal realm are also overwhelmed. They are being eaten and captured by the evil races outside the realm. Zuna and the others were still trying to take out the water spirit beads, but without the 3 secret keys in hand, it was obviously extremely difficult. In addition to the obstruction of the island guardian, they were stalemate in the forbidden area for a while. On the other hand, Our Lady of Yarokai and others, who are also collaborating with the countless forces in the Fairyland for 3 days, are now slowly approaching the center of the Fairyland, and the real war will probably start completely soon. As for Xiao Yang and the others, at this time, they were cautiously crossing the shrines and heading for a deeper place. However, there is nothing in the shrines similar to the palace masters of the Flower God Palace, and there are very few traces of damage, which is very strange. In addition, in every shrine they stepped on, apart from the disappearance of the powerful figure inhabiting it, there seemed to be no other loss or strangeness. In the depths of the glazed road, in the endless and deep void. At the 3rd shrine, Taiishu Shrine, the small world space here is more like a place of stars in the daytime. At this time, the sticky devil clouds kept rolling, wrapping the periphery of the 3rd shrine tightly, and the small world in the shrine also welcomed several uninvited guests at this time. In the shrine, in the sky, lightning storms raged out, humming the entire daytime star world, the void was slightly distorted, and the amazing evil fluctuations kept squirming. Obviously, there has been a battle here. Break. An unusually cold low-pitched roar swept through the entire small world, causing people to be in a trance. I saw countless broken light mirrors in the void condensed together again, turning into a rather dazzling dark red light beam, covering the whole world. In the dark red monster world, countless thick black lights turned into several evil monsters with monstrous evil power, and countless eyes gathered at the core. At this time, above the heaven and the earth, the evil clouds were rolling, like a doomsday scene. 2 seemingly thin figures quietly stood in the sky, standing proudly in the sky, and the powerful pressure released from the invisible unexpectedly made this small. The void of the world hummed. This kind of amazing energy fluctuation is probably not something that ordinary people can do. And behind them, 4 imposing evil shadows followed quietly together. Black demon, bone demon, and 2 figures that have never been seen before. As for the 2 figures with a proud posture above the sky, they are the 2 half-evil gods who are now the main force in attacking the center of the fairy world. The devil of darkness, the whole person is like a thin young man, with handsome facial features, neat dark red robes, and long slender dark red hair. The whole person is slightly evil. In addition, no matter how you observe it, this guy doesn't seem to have any power, let alone any difference from the words half-evil god in the alien clan. The bloodstone evil venerable on the side is better recognizable. There are several scarlet bloodstains on the fierce face, which are the sequelae left by the brand of divine power, which cannot be eliminated. A king's demeanor. Below the 6 people, a figure with frowning eyes, Xianfeng Daogu, sat quietly on a futon. Hehe, immortal Taiishu, if your strength is only that much, don't stop and waste our time here. Bloodstone evil venerable shook his head slightly, and then a blood-colored ray burst out from his eyes, locking the thin man on the futon below like a death ray. Bloodstone evil venerable, dark demon. In the first battle of heaven and earth, you were just shrimp soldiers and crab generals outside the area. Now you have the courage to break into the center of my heaven without authorization. The figure on the futon narrowed his eyes and clenched his palms quietly. Most of the original battles were just a simple test between the 2 sides, and there were no violent fluctuations. Here, among the 16 shrines, the 3rd-ranked Taiishu shrine, the great power who lives here is the Taiishu immortal whose strength has reached the peak of the 5th reincarnation order. I have long heard that immortal Taiishu holds one of the artifacts in the fairy world, Taiishu armor. The Taiishu armor is not only extremely defensive, but also its shape can be changed at will, which is extremely mysterious. His strength is even the second-in-command in the center of the immortal realm, and the Taiishu sword intent that he cultivates is even rumored to be invincible in the world. Not sure whether it is true. The bloodstone evil venerable waved his long hair full of evil on his forehead, showing a rather frightening and hideous expression. But the sarcasm and killing intent in the words can no longer be concealed. Don't waste your time. With the old man here, this is your destination. Immortal Taiishu opened his eyes slightly, and a faint breath of vicissitudes spread out like a tide of energy. That fluctuation and power, appalling. Humph. Stop talking nonsense here. Taiishu old man, what do you think this is? The corner of bloodstone evil venerable's mouth snorted coldly. Just after speaking, the withered bone corpse demon in the back, and the woman in red who had guarded the medicine refining temple, appeared together, and with a wave of the palm, several figures stood horizontally in the void. Spirit butterfly immortal master, thunder beast immortal venerable, 9 heavenly mysterious girl, you. Looking at the familiar figures in front of him, immortal Taiishu's expression suddenly became strange, and an uneasy thought emerged. Right now, these guys seem to have lost their intuition and fell into a coma, and above their heads, there is a purple-gold light, constantly absorbing their source power and life breath. Once their life and origin are consumed, they will fall into reincarnation at light level, and at worst they will be destroyed in body and spirit. The strength of so many people is by no means simple, and they have all been captured at this time. Go ahead, don't waste time. Bloodstone Evil Zun shook his head and stepped aside instantly, as if he didn't intend to do anything at all, but his eyes seemed to penetrate this small world, looking at the 2nd shrine, or even the 1st shrine. There is your ultimate goal. As long as you defeat the ruler who controls the entire immortal world and step into the heretic god rank, it is a matter of course. Once he steps into the heretic god rank, his strength and status will jump directly among the foreign evil races, and the resources and support he enjoys are simply not comparable to what he is now. Hoo, it's coming soon. The demon of darkness on the side was calm, but his words seemed to be calculating something, which was mysterious. Go. The withered bone corpse demon and the red-haired succubus looked at each other, and invariably flew into the air, blasting away at immortal Taiishu. This time, the attack on the immortal realm was originally led by the dark demon and the bloodstone evil lord. They concealed the leaders of the evil gods of the evil race from outside the territory, and they did not hesitate to spend a lot of means to travel across the void, and they even promised countless benefits to the 4 red kings and evil monsters who followed. It seems that everything is ready. As long as the center of the fairy world is destroyed, they can perfectly implement their grand cause. The 4 red kings and the 2 half-evil gods, together with the evil things in their hands, were able to kill all the way to the 3rd shrine. It was really mysterious. The withered corpse demon and the red-haired succubus rushed out together, and surrounded the Taiishu immortal with lightning speed. 6 demons with dry bones. The withered corpse demon stared at immortal Taiishu with a stern gaze, the coldness in his eyes flowed, his palms tossed, and in an instant, it turned into 6 withered bone golems like demons, and floated out. The 6 golems were like dead bone puppets, and they screamed fiercely just now, and a vast evil aura rushed towards them. Succubus puppet shadow. The red-haired succubus was expressionless, without any nonsense or traces of holding hands, his body trembled, and an enchanting shadow full of red magic light roared out. The enchanting ghost shadow is filled with countless demonic auras, as if at a glance, it is seduced by its soul, which is very strange. In the face of a superpower like Taiishu Immortal who is close to the 6th level, the withered corpse demon and the red-haired succubus have no hold at all. Because they know that if they don't do their best, they will be the only ones who will lose. The 6 withered bone golems and the enchanting shadow that could easily devour the soul stood in the void, but the terrifying fluctuations emanating from them were enough to make immortal Taiishu move slightly. This is the terrifying power of the Red King rank peak powerhouse. The two of you are really hiding. However, trespassing into the center of my fairyland without authorization requires a price. Sword come. With a low roar, a ray of light shot up to the sky, and 6 blue-colored chi swords appeared out of thin air, floating lightly on the head of immortal Taiishu, and the dazzling divine power surged gently. The shadows pierced together. Boom! The bodies of the 6 withered bone golems and the enchanting ghosts swelled abruptly, and the large and small magic lines on their bodies shook violently, and finally exploded with a thud. The turbulent evil chi dripped down like a torrential rain shower, and one after another mourning sound resounded through the heavens and the earth. How come? The ultimate move was broken. The corpse demon and the red-haired succubus shrank slightly, and a mouthful of original evil blood sprayed out. The attack of that level just now mobilized their source power, so such a terrifying attack did not cause any impact on immortal Taiishu. This guy is too strong. The whole world seemed to be a little quiet, and the countless demon clouds stopped wriggling for a while, as if they were waiting for the orders of the 2 demigods. The peak of the 5-layer reincarnation rank, in conjunction with the power of the divine weapon, the strength of the immortal Taiishu is no longer a mere Red King rank can handle. My lord, your guardian has fallen. However, the Palace Master of the Moon God Palace and the Palace Master of the Flower God Palace, including the Gorfians under Lord Bloodstone Xiao Yan, all fell together. Among the 4 Red Kings, the only evil shadow who had never appeared before quietly walked to the Demon of Darkness and said respectfully. The Demon of Darkness nodded lightly, as if he didn't care at all. After a while, he turned his head and said to Xiao Yan, "This guy has a lot of restraint on me, I'm afraid." "I know." Bloodstone Evil Venerable roared coldly, and the blood energy around his body began to rise. Judging from the seemingly simple fight just now, immortal Taiishu's strength must be shot by him. All evil. Bloodstone Evil Venerable stepped forward and directly replaced the original 2 people's positions. The blood-colored evil energy surged in his body, and it seemed to be condensing some terrifying killer move. Blood-colored setting sun. Cold killing intent poured out, and a blood-colored ball of light like the sun slowly rose from his body. Not long after, a tiny gap was slowly cracked open in the monstrous blood-colored setting sun, and a blood-red magic eye emerged in a trance. At the moment of its appearance, countless energies in the entire daytime star world stopped rotating together. Blood demon eyes, the 7th evil tool outside the realm. At this moment, the 6 chi swords above immortal Taiishu's head buzzed, and an extremely uneasy emotion poured into his heart. Even though Bloodstone Evil Venerable is a half-evil god, he has not been promoted to the evil god, and he cannot condense and control the special weapons used exclusively by the evil god. However, the 7th-ranked Blood Demon Eye among the extraterrestrial evil tools was enough to make immortal Taiishu feel a lot of pressure. The blood-colored setting sun was slowly rising. Under the radiance of the blood-colored evil light, the wounds suffered by the withered corpse demon and the red-haired succubus actually healed rapidly. The demon eyes in the setting sun seemed to condense some kind of terrifying power. A sound, like a meteor hanging in the sky, blasted away. The blood-colored evil yang fell with the magic eye, like a shackle of death bursting out from the depths of hell, piercing through the layers of void, and pointing directly to the eyebrows of immortal Taiishu. Such an attack, if you are hit by it, I am afraid that you will be seriously injured if you don't die. Taiishu soared intent. Heaven and earth are boundless, all laws return to their origin. Seeing such a terrifying blow, immortal Taiishu suddenly muttered, and then a domineering monstrous light erupted all over his body. The 6 chi swords buzzed abruptly, and immediately overlapped. The chi sword looks ordinary, but the entire sword body is engraved with countless mysterious and incomprehensible sacred lines, which is brilliant. Boom! A sword was raised, and it slashed towards the blood-colored setting sun demon eye. The whole world suddenly shrank, like a heart twitching slightly, and then the vast energy exploded uncontrollably. The blood-colored setting sun carried the magic eye, and a ray of deathlight descended from the sky. In a blink of an eye, it penetrated the void and came to the top of Taiishu Immortal's head dozens of meters away. The blood-colored setting sun twisted slightly, and the magic eyes opened and closed. Everything was strangled. The sword intent of Taiishu slashes impermanence. Looking at the situation on the verge of death, Immortal Taiishu showed a long-lost smile on his face. The vast power of reincarnation overflowed from his body like a black hole and poured into the inch-long chi sword. A sword was swung out, and it was like a child who had no power to hold a chicken in his hand, and he gently stirred the chi sword. No matter how he looked at it, there was no prestige. But it was this kind of attack that completely shattered the proud bloodstone evil venerable attack. Squeak! The chi sword strode through the void, carrying the body of Immortal Taiishu, and while everyone was watching, it easily passed through the blood-colored setting sun. And at this moment, above the evil eyes of the evil spirits, one after another weak cracks suddenly enlarged rapidly in the pupils of everyone. Finally, with a puff, the blood-colored setting sun turned into countless fragments and shattered, and the magic eye was completely submerged in this void. Attack, indifferently annihilate. At this moment, an incredible shock appeared in the minds of the four Red Kings. In the sky, a Taiishu Immortal holding an inch-long chi sword quietly turned his head and projected a killing force at the crowd. It was like a supreme ruler despising the tiny ants crawling on the ground. Countless emotions of contempt and ridicule emanated from Immortal Taiishu, and a touch of unprecedented fear quietly filled his heart. This video will end here.